Once you've found your images for the project, you're ready to start drawing out your characters. I have the first one that's done already, and then I'm going to walk you through on how to do this. We talked about how the background is going to be 10 inches tall, so you don't want your tallest character to be beyond 9 inches. Depending on your characters, you might not even have anybody that tall. I'm using Monsters Inc. as an example because Sully is really big, so I drew him out to the 9 inches tall. We're going to visually divide this out, so easily measure them out so we can draw them to actual size and not have to measure a whole bunch of things. So what we're going to do in your book, this is going to be my book today, and you're going to take a ruler. On the ruler, you're going to find 4.5 inches, and you're going to line that up with the seam of your book. And I'm going to go ahead and mark mine so it's right in the middle. Go ahead and write 4.5 beside it. That's going to be in the middle. So we're going to mark the top, which would be 9. The bottom, which is 0. And then in between. So half of this is 2 1/4. And half of this is 6 3/4. I'm sorry. Okay, so we'll be able to draw them out to scale. Then you're going to take your group picture. So I'm going to show you this one that I'm actually going to draw this one out. So what I did was I took a line and I drew it right underneath where their feet are, and then wherever I want my tallest point to be, wherever the 9 inches will be. And then I just divided it out. I found the center, which would make the 4.5 mark, and then half of each one of these. So that's where the 6 3/4 and the 2 1/4 come into play. I'm going to do that with my group photo right here. So I have the bottom where everybody is standing. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a line all the way across. I'm using a pen so you can see what I'm doing, but you can do pencil too. And then wherever I want the top to be, I think I want my top to be a little bit higher than where Shaggy is, so the top of my background would be up here, and that's fine. If you have a bunch of short characters, like if you had Rugrat or Powderpuff Girl, something like that, you might only want them to come up about halfway. So we'll have to decide that individually, how big your characters will actually be. So I'm just going to divide this in half. That would be my 4.5 mark. And then each of these in half as well. So right here would be my 6 3/4. And right here is my 2 1/4. And you can take these lines all the way across. If you need a ruler, you can. I like to just eyeball it. This won't be exact, and that's okay. So I have, I'm going to draw out Shaggy for us today, and then I have Scooby-Doo drawn out too, so that you can see how to do a 4-legged animal. I can transfer the lines down if I want to, so if I wanted to do this on the individual character, I could. So the bottom line would be right here. The top line I made a little above his head, so just make sure you put that in wherever it was before. And I can look right here, I can see that the line is right about at his chin. Next line is about in the middle here. Next line is about at his knees. And that looks about right. Okay, so I have all of that put together. Now I'm going to transfer and draw it over here. So this is going to be the actual size. I'm going to draw that in pencil so it's different than here. So just starting up at the head, and I'm going to work my way down. So we left a little bit of space, so I'm going to draw in a line so I can see that. Anytime you need to, let's scoot these together. If you need to divide this in half, you sure can. So I have that space That's about right here. So his head comes a little bit lower than that. He has an oval head, so we'll put that in. All of them are going to have some type of neck. We're just going to put a line for the neck because we're building the wire skeleton. His shoulders will be about in there. Shoulders are not going to be very wide because you can add bulk with the newspaper later. And then the waist part is going to be between the 4 and the 2. So I'm just going to mark that here. So it goes clear down to here. So that'll be just one really long skinny rectangle. And then the rest will be down to his feet. Leave about an inch. Make sure you have about an inch at the bottom for the feet because that's where we're going to nail it to the block. Then I have his arms. His arms are very long. They go almost down to the 2 1/4 mark. They're going to go all the way up to the shoulders and back down. Next thing to do is going to be to measure out how many inches of wire we need. So I'm going to use a highlighter to mark the path. I'm going to start on one side. That'll be my inch right there. I'm going to go up, cross over right here. That'll add stability. Up, over to the neck, around the head. And we can stop right there because we could double the measurement and that would give us the full length of that. And then I'll also do the arms separately. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to start off. I'm going to leave myself an inch to right here. I'm just going to mark it with my finger and pivot the ruler. So make sure you're going up in numbers. And if you need to, you can always add just a tiny bit. So that's really close to 4. So I'm going to mark it with 4 at my finger. Pivot it across about there. I'm going to go up to right there. Pivot it around, measure it to there. Up, I'm at about 9. And I'm going to inch my way around here. So I'm at about 11 1/2. And if I double it, that's 23. So 23 inches for his body. And then I'm going to do the arms. And the arms is just one big piece of wire. So I just need to go here, pivot it over and down. I'm at about almost 8 inches. So we'll do 8. And maybe even arrow to what you need. If you have extra things like, excuse me, horns or a really big nose or a big tail, let me know and I can help you. We'll fashion something. We need to be able to tape it to some part of the wire and bend it around. So we'll figure that out on an individual basis. But I have this done. So I went and I cut my wire. I have the big sculpture wire that we used for the wire frames. And now we're going to bend it exactly to this. So if you want to grab some of the jewelry pliers, you could. That's going to help you make the tight bends. So I have a pair of pliers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tails together and find the center of my wire. Right here, because that's going to be the head. And you're going to mold this exactly to your drawing. So I have that. I'm going to kind of fix that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to add a twist. Okay, the twist part is going to be the neck, and that's going to help hold everything together. And then I'm going to angle the shoulders. So you might want to use pliers for that. I'm just going to grab that. And so I can make a really sharp bend on the shoulders so I can keep them really narrow. Because like I said, by the time you add newspaper for the thickness, that'll add bulk to your character. So no matter how big they are, if you have Homer Simpson or if you have Shaggy, start off with kind of a smaller frame. Then I'm going to get down to here. I'm just going to bend that straight across. Oopsies. right there. And then that one will go straight down. And then same thing with the opposite side, so I'll hang on right there, going straight across, straight down. So you want that to be pretty narrow. And I'm going to put a piece of tape right there. This will help hold things together and make it a little bit easier when you go to nail it down and do the plastering. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape. Make sure that's narrow because he is pretty skinny, so I want to make sure that it's narrow. Okay, and then I have the bottom right there. I'm just going to bend out. Make sure you have a little bit there so that we can nail it to the block. Okay, so we did his feet. And then the last part's the arms. So I had 8 inches for the arms. I'm just going to bow them together like this. And it's going to get taped to his shoulders. So try to center that best you can. Okay, and I'm going to tape it right there. So I'm taking a piece of tape. I'm even going to rip this in half so it stays in the middle. And then make sure you try to keep it in the middle. The other side. Okay, so he is ready to go, and I'm going to turn his feet forward, so like that. When I nail it down, it'll be the same as when we did the picture frame. Make sure it's at an angle so it doesn't split your wood. I did want to show you one more thing. If you have a 4-legged creature, so I drew out Scooby-Doo, and I had him, he was only up to the 6 3/4 mark. So I'm doing 1 piece of wire for his body. So I added the tail on there. I'm going to do all the way around here and measure all of this. That's 1 piece of wire. And then each of the set of legs is going to be similar to how we did the arms. So you'll have 2. And make sure to connect it to the top. That adds more stability when we're trying to do the plaster. I'm going to add a separate piece, kind of like a headband for the ears, and we're going to tape it on there just like we did the arms as well. So if you have any other questions, be sure to let me know. Otherwise, go ahead and get your piece together, and you're going to be ready to start adding newspaper.